Alright, everybody, what's going on? It's Nick, back at you with another podcast. So, 2 days in a row, I'm gonna be doing a podcast. I hope you're seeing this Saturday. Yeah. We're gonna be talking the NBA Finals, Game 4. And if you saw it or know anything about it, man, that was tough to watch last night. All right, but let's dive straight into it. I don't, man. Where do I start? I was watching Locked on Celtics today, which is another podcast. They made some good points, so I am going to go over some of the points they made. This is not anything to be worried about. It's called a gentleman's sweep for a reason. So I guess I'll break down the game. The Celtics quit, and they quit early. I saw a joke, and it was Derek White was playing like he had hair again. Jason Tatum was playing like it's the 22 finals, and Jaylen Brown started using his left hand again. All those are valid points. Maybe not that Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown just played like crap last night. Tatum and Brown combined for 25 points. 25 points between both of them. And they were the two lead scorers. So the final score last night was 88-122. The Celtics got blown out. Yeah, that was hard to watch. But I saw somebody talking, and I'm gonna say it's not anything to be worried about. It's really not. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have off nights. But I think it's not what went wrong, but it's what didn't go right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess that's the same shit. Same thing, however you want to say it. It's the same thing. That was rough. Jason Tatum, he looked like he was out of it early. He did. He looked like, he put up seven points really early in that first quarter, and the score was 11-10, and that was the last time the Celtics led in that game. I think they look like Jason Tatum has been able to, it didn't matter the call, but up to this point in the finals, Jason Tatum hadn't given us any reason to not trust him. And I think this isn't the reason we don't trust him, right? It looked like the call started to get to him early. And in this series, in the NBA Finals, that's been something he's been able to, strive through and, get through and not let it get to him. And I think last night it did, and it got to him early. And, they were not able to, he was not able to come back from it. They shot like crap early. And never really figured it out. But it's not anything to be worried about. I mean, it's gonna happen, right? The Celtics didn't look terrible last night, but they didn't look good. Jason Tatum, he let the calls get to him. Yeah. Jason Tatum let the calls get to him, and he let them get to him early, and that threw him off. Jaylen Brown, I will say, played like absolute crap last night. Jaylen Brown had the worst 5 minutes of basketball I'd ever seen in my life. They were missing shots, and they were missing them in bunches. And if you're a Mavs fan, I'm sure you're in here like, oh, Dallas in 7. This doesn't change anything. Dallas is still going to get their butt whooped. Like, let's not get that confused, right? Okay, I understand. It is going. You're gonna have nights like this. You're gonna have nights where you don't shoot the best. But I don't. Let's not have the narrative that Dallas played perfect, because they didn't. The Celtics just played that bad. You know what I'm saying? Dallas didn't even look that good. Like, yes, all right, don't get me wrong. Kyrie and Luka Doncic looked good last night. They looked really good. I think they played their regular game. It didn't seem anything special. The Celtics just missed shots, and I think the Celtics had a chance to get back into that, and I think once they were down by 15, they lost it. They did. They just never really looked good last night. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't anything too crazy to me that stood out. They missed shots. They didn't play their high level of defense as they have this whole series. But they're getting a chance to go back home and finish it, and I think they will. I think if you're the Dallas Mavericks, I think you're terrified. I mean, I sure would be. The Dallas Mavericks should be worried about how good the Celtics will play next series. Now, this to me doesn't mean that the Celtics aren't going to make mistakes next game. Let's not get that confused. But I think they're going to come out and they're going to play their regular game. So if the Mavericks think that they're just gonna we're just gonna win 3 straight more games, like it's not gonna be like that. And I hope they don't think that the Celtics are gonna stop trying, because that's sure as hell not what's gonna happen. And if the Mavericks come into the game thinking that's how it's gonna go, they're going to get their butts whipped, and they're gonna be out of there in 5 games. Earlier I called it in 6. I'll call it in 5 now. I'm gonna change it to 5. I don't think there's another game. I really don't. But Monday we're back in Boston, so the atmosphere is really going to be a big key in that. I think it's going to be very hype. I think you're going to have 100,000 Celtics fans there cheering on the Celtics. Like, I don't see a reality where the Mavs beat them again. I don't. And I think this was really a how do I put this? It was really kind of a embarrassment if they didn't win this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, to get swept, they didn't want to go out like that. They didn't want to go out in a sweep. So, I think this meant a lot more to them than it meant to Boston. And, I think it was Al Horford who said after the game, they wanted it more than we did. And I said this in my earlier podcast. Whoever wants it more will get it. And I think last night the Celtics didn't want it. They didn't want it at all. I think they might have gotten their head, we're just gonna come in and sweep them. You know what I'm saying? But the Celtics haven't lost a game since May 19th, May 16th, or something like that. That's almost a month. That's almost 2 months. No. It was May. It had to have been May 13th or something like that, because it had been over a month they hadn't lost. So I think they wanted it more, and they played like they wanted it more, and they got it. So by no means is this something to be worried about. The Celtics are still going to bring it home. But you can't win a championship building a house, if that makes any sense. And by that I meant they shot so many bricks they built a house. Yeah, I think they built a village last night, not a house. I think they built a house in the first quarter. I think by the end of the game there was a village. In the first quarter, at first it was back and forth. It was, it was a good game, and then when the Celtics started to get down by 10, they weren't playing that same defense that they have been playing this series, and I think that kind of scared them. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of threw them for a loop. They got to run for their money last night. And I think they now they know what it's like to be the opposite team and lose by 38. It was the third largest margin in NBA history. But look at statistics. There's a reason teams are 156-0 when being up 3-0. It's because, okay, sure, they might get a game. They might even get two, but it's if they get two, they're still not. If for some reason worse comes to worse and they win that next game, the Celtics will put up 140 points in that game 6, without a doubt in my mind. I think they're going to put up 140 next game. So if the Mavericks don't come to play, they're going to get belt to ass. And that's an understatement. So, last night, Jason Kidd in the locker room was like, "Oh, like, pack your bags, like, we're going to Boston." Yeah, you're going to Boston. You're not coming back home. You're not coming back home. Or you are, but not with a win. You're not. You're gonna go home with a loss on Monday in TD Garden. And I think, for some reason, I think the Celtics wanted that, So I think that's why, like, if you look after the game, none of them freaked out. None of them were like, oh my gosh, like, the Mavericks played so well. Like, yes, they gave them credit. They played a better game. They wanted it more, and whoever wants it more in the game is going to get it. Because everybody knows that hard work beats talent when talent fails to work. And I think the talent that they have just didn't look talented last night. I think they need to go back, they need to regroup, and they need to put up 1,000 shots each. And Jason Tatum needs to take more initiative. Luka fouled out in game 3. So I think the refs were a lot more lenient. The refs were like, all right, like, let's not, Yes, I'm not gonna say that changed the games. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that a couple of these calls would have changed the games, because they lost by 38 points. They could have gotten every call, and I don't think it would have changed the outcome. But I think that kind of shook their confidence. And that's one thing they've been able to, this entire series, they've been able to put that aside. No matter how the calls, what way the calls went, they've been able to, stay focused. And I think last night they weren't able to stay focused. But we'll have to see. Going into this game, it's game 5. I think the Celtics will win it. If it's not close, the Celtics will win it by 40. If the Mavericks don't come to play, the Celtics will win it by 40. So, you know, we will just have to see. But that's all I got for you guys today. I love every single one of you so much. If you have not yet liked and subscribed, make sure to do that. And I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces.
Okay.